I'd like to call this meeting of the Show Low City Council to order, show that all council members are present. Tonight, I've asked Councilman Adams to lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge by Councilman Hatch. If you'd all like to stand and join us, you may do so.
Father in heaven, we humbly come before you this evening. We are so grateful that we have the opportunity to come together as a council and as a community and to talk about our beautiful area. We pray that thy spirit may be here as we go over the needs of our community. Father, we are grateful for our staff and the hard work and the sacrifice they make to make our community look so good, and so thankful for their hard work. We humbly pray, Father, for moisture, pray for rain, that our forests can receive the rain that they need, the moisture they need to help us in our fire season. And we ask for thy spirit to be here, and we ask for thy blessings, and we say these things in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Hatch and Councilman Adams. Next item on the agenda is call to the public. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. We actually do not have anybody requesting to speak tonight.
Very good. We'll move over on to special events. Presentation by the Navajo County Sheriff's Office. Chief Deputy Moffett. What about your sidekick?
Moral support. So, well, good evening. Is that project? Oh, it's there. So sorry, you're a little quicker than me. Randy Moffett with the Navajo County Sheriff's Office, filling in for David Klaus, who is currently in Cancun, which seems a little bit unfair right now. But so just want to talk a little bit about what we've been up to at the Sheriff's Office. Kind of want to give you a really 10,000 foot level of how everything's going at the Sheriff's Office. And then at the end, we'll just open it up for questions. We always need to talk about our dispatch center. And this is one place where we've been presenting throughout the county, and we knock on wood every time we talk about our dispatch center because we have fully staffed, and those individuals that work in our dispatch center are doing an incredible job. As we know, last week was the Dispatch Recognition Week. Our dispatchers have answered 15,000 dispatch events, 34,000 total calls, 18,000 911 calls, and then 8,710 traffic stops. We have 9 telecommunicators, 2 supervisors, and 1 dispatch manager. Her name is Caitlin, and she's doing an incredible job. She's been with us for a long time. And I say that because I remember like her first day when she started, and she's just doing a remarkable job. So, the Criminal Investigations Unit, this is the bad part. We have had 6 homicides in the last year that our Criminal Investigations Unit has done. The most recent was the Michael Abadi case, which was both up in Pine Top and also in El Centro, California. And our deputies, our supervisors, they spent a ton of time over in California to make sure that that individual came back and is facing our charges. He's currently in our county jail. And we have 1 lieutenant, 1 sergeant, and 3 detectives, and they were working nonstop, night and day, along with the MCAT task force. And I've never worked an investigation where you have to go to another state and then you have to get all the warrants validated in that state. And that was a lot of work, just a ton of work. I think the last time we counted, we were up to like 42 search warrants on that case alone. So it's just a ton of work. So, and then our partnership with the SRT team, we, as you know, we have a huge presence with the Show Low Police Department. It is a great opportunity to work together. The only thing that we changed last month was we actually added 3 tactical medics to our SRT team. That's going to give us the ability to keep not only our officers safer when they're doing these types of work, this type of work, but also the opportunity to provide medical assistance to individuals who may get harmed by the SRT team because of the unlawful events that they are committing. So it's really neat, and it just makes absolute sense to have them on the team. So this is a A lot of people aren't aware, we have an aviation unit with the sheriff's office. We have a fixed wing airplane. We have about 6 pilots that are volunteers that fly us all over the state. We use that a lot for our prisoner extraditions to save the county money and go get those individuals and fly them back. We also have a helicopter. Commander Wiley is responsible for our aviation unit. And then we're super blessed. We have a deputy who's a pilot. And that's just an incredible thing. So he jumps in that helicopter and he can get it up. We had a recent call 2 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, of an individual who decided to create an act of violence, and he fired a bunch of shots at individuals. Then he took off in the forest. That would have been a really lengthy operation for us to find that individual. Based on where he went, he drove up into Apache County. We had our helicopter up within 20 minutes. We gave them the coordinates. They flew out there. I mean, we're talking 20 minutes from the hangar up in the air. They flew out there, they located the suspect within 7 minutes, and then they just circled the subject and then drove our deputies right up into him. So I just couldn't believe it. I was shocked that we put the helicopter up and it was down before we could even really recognize that it was up there. They're like, we got him, he's right here, and bring the units in. That helicopter is truly going to save a tremendous amount of lives as more people find out that we have it and the more opportunities to use it. It's just truly a valuable tool. And then for those that don't know, I have a long history with MCAT, our drug task force. We're in a rebuilding phase with the partnership with Show Low Police Department. I just want to kind of talk about some of the work that they've done. Currently, we have 1 lieutenant. She's running both criminal investigations and MCAT. We have 2 canine handlers, 1 detective, and then 1 detention detective. I would love to tell you that this is the biggest unit we have. It's really been stripped because everybody promoted. And that's what we want. We want people to promote within the sheriff's office. Current drug seizures, you can see the drug seizures up there, 2025, methamphetamine, 347 pounds. As opposed to 622 pounds the previous year. That's directly related to things that are happening down at the southwest border. And then the biggest thing that I like to point out is the fentanyl pills. The year before we had over 1 million fentanyl pills, and this year we have about 500,000 fentanyl pills. That's a huge victory. That's a huge victory to not have people overdosing and dying on those pills. So, proactive enforcement successes, physical arrests, 213, the year before 228. Agency assists, we frequently take our canines up on I-40. They're always assisting the Department of Public Safety. And then 402 the year before, 259. So we're just kind of slowing down a little bit. Plus, I will tell you, these drug traffickers are changing their techniques yet once again. They're going to deeper engine compartments, which takes a little bit more time to find. Before, it was kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. It was in the backseat of the car. It's pretty easy to find. But now they've changed their things around. Search warrants, 49 for last year, 13 on vehicles, and then 10 residential search warrant. And there's just another graphic of what we're doing with our arrests. Agency assist, we kind of just covered that. A lot of it is with DPS and then our criminal investigations unit. We work hand in hand. And then we also work hand in hand with Show Low Police Department when they need assistance as well. So, and this one really stuck out to us. It's a lot of information, but realistically, we have a deputy working for us. His name's Jordan Smith. He's a really hardworking young man. He conducted a traffic stop on I-40. He knew something wasn't right. He kept digging and kept looking, kept searching. He located a 13-year-old girl that was being smuggled in the backseat of that vehicle. And so a lot of people associate Interstate 40 with, it's a drug smuggling corridor. That it is, but we're out there to investigate all crimes that are going across Navajo County and through I-40. So this was really significant to remove that gal, that young lady, get her back to her parents, and then the subject was welcome to face criminal charges for what he had done. So here's just one of our drug loads. It's 34 pounds of meth with an estimated street value of about $618,000. And this is a slide that I'm really proud of. And when the sheriff had asked me to put this slide together, the first place I went was to our Navajo County Jail, because I wanted to talk about what we're doing and how we're not just incarcerating people. That's a simple thing. When everybody associates a jail, they're like, oh, they just put them there. We've never had 18 nurses on our jail staff before. They get services all the time. We were in the jail the other day, the sheriff and I. There was a line of inmates that were sitting there. They were thrilled to death to be in medical. They were like, look at the services we're getting. And we sat there and talked to them for a little bit. We have a mental health coordinator. We have a behavioral health technician. We have a nurse practitioner. We have counselors. And then the other thing that we're doing is we recognize that there was a very large fentanyl crisis. And rather than just bringing somebody in and beating them down and going, yep, you're addicted to an opioid, we use opioid use disorder. We have that available for the inmates. We're currently treating 16 inmates. We have capacity for 60 or 72 inmates. So there's a lot of things going on in the Navajo County Jail that people are just completely unaware of. This is some of our new technology that we have. I promise you that photo on the right is a stock photo from the internet, and that's not one of the individuals that we body scan. We do have a body scanner. We thought, quite frankly, this was going to be a great tool for reducing contraband into jail. It's incredible for that. But what we didn't realize when we got that body scanner was our medical staff is actually using it to notice things that are happening with individuals who are incarcerated, and they're getting them services and medical treatment, which we didn't know that was going to happen. But they're looking at them and going, oh yeah, there's a lot of things going on with this individual, and we should offer them some services. So with that being said, I will tell you I am not David Klaus. He's a little taller, but I would be open to any questions with what we're doing in Navajo County.
Thank you guys for what you do. I can tell you, I don't understand how come these drug dealers don't stay out of Navajo County, but you cut fentanyl almost in half. That's incredible in just a year. So we can't thank you guys enough. I know a lot of this, I think a lot of it is on I-40. I think that's what you said, but I'm sure a lot of it's in our community here too. So, anybody got any questions or comments?
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you guys, appreciate it. Wiley, is it your turn now? Oh, you're done? You don't want to talk, Wiley? Thank you guys very much, appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is presentation regarding wild mitigation. Unfortunately, our APS advisor won't be here, so we're going to postpone that one. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. We'll do a proclamation by the mayor proclaiming May 1, 2026 as Loyalty Day, proclamation by the mayor proclaiming April 19th through the 25th as National Library Week, and they're all here. That's incredible. That's awesome. Proclaiming, I'm sorry, by the mayor, a proclamation by the mayor proclaiming April 24th as Arbor Day. Consideration of resolution number R 2026-11 granting water service connection. Consideration of acceptance of NPC waterline project. Consideration of approval of agreement with CNP Technologies. A few more here. Consideration of the minutes of the Show Low City Council meetings, the study session April 7th, 6 p.m., and then study session again on April 7th at 6:30. Regular meeting on April 7th, 2026. Entertain the motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Got a motion, got a second by Councilman Jett. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. I can have City Clerk read the first proclamation, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas in 1958, the United States Congress designated the 1st of May of every year as Loyalty Day. And whereas Loyalty Day was established as a day for reaffirming our loyalty to the United States and the documents upon which our nation was founded. And whereas Loyalty Day provides the opportunity to celebrate the many freedoms secured and preserved for all citizens by the brave patriots who have served in our nation's armed forces and risked their lives for liberty and independence. And whereas there continues to exist in the world today hostile forces that are dedicated to destroying our way of life in America. And whereas it is fitting that the citizens of the city of Show Low take time to reflect on the privileges of democracy and liberty extended to us by the institutions of American freedom. Now therefore, John Leach Jr., Mayor, on behalf of the Show Low City Council, proudly joins the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post number 9907 in proclaiming May 1st, 2026 as Loyalty Day in the city of Show Low and invites the citizens of the Show Low to observe Loyalty Day. Thank you.
You'd like to come on up? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. The next proclamation is National Library Week, whereas libraries are not just about what we have for people, but what we do for and with people. Whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions, and library workers and librarians fuel efforts to better their communities, campuses, and schools. Whereas librarians continue to fulfill their role in leveling the playing field for all who seek information and access to technologies, especially as our society is at a critical juncture regarding the changing information landscape and the skills needed to thrive in our digital world. Whereas libraries and librarians open up a world of possibilities through innovative STEAM programming, maker spaces, job-seeking resources, and the power of reading. Whereas libraries and librarians are looking beyond their traditional roles and providing more opportunities for community engagement and delivering new services that connect closely with patrons' needs. Whereas libraries support democracy and affect social change through their commitment to provide equitable access to information for all library users, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now therefore, John Leach Jr., Mayor, on behalf of the Show Low City Council, does hereby proclaim the week of April 19th through the 25th, 2026 as National Library Week in the city of Show Low, and urges all citizens to visit the library this week, explore what's new, and engage with their librarian because of our citizens and our experts in the library. Libraries transform.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I challenge anybody in here or listening, you got to come to our library. This staff that's right in front of us today picking up this proclamation are absolutely amazing. So if you guys want to come on up, I'd appreciate it. Bring everybody. Only if you stay for the whole meeting. No, I'm joking. You don't have to. Thank you so much for everything you do. You guys are grateful. Appreciate it. I don't think there's anybody left in Show Low. They're standing. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, again. That's one of the busiest libraries I think I've ever seen. People standing in the door waiting for them to open, so it's amazing. Okay, next item on the agenda are new business consideration of acceptance of the Arizona Game and Fish Heritage Grant Funds and approval of associated budget transfers. Mrs. Adams.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. In 2025, over 350 bear complaints were received in the city, and Game and Fish predict an increase in bear activity this year. Unsecured garbage is the leading attractant drawing bears into neighborhoods, creating safety concerns, property damage, and risks to wildlife. Arizona Game and Fish made the city aware of a grant program through the Heritage Funds to reduce bear encounters. The city applied to the Arizona Game and Fish Heritage Grant Program to purchase bear-resistant trash trolleys and was awarded $130,000. No matches required. The project will reduce human-bear conflicts by deploying approximately 440 certified bear-resistant containers in high-incident areas and educating residents on proper waste management. The city will collaborate with the Arizona Game and Fish and local waste services to track incidents and measure success. Staff recommends accepting grant funding from the Arizona Game and Fish Department and approving associated budget transfers.
Know the feeling.
I can't get it out.
Any questions or comments? Anybody got any questions or comments? I think it's really cool that they have this program. I'm just a quick, I guess, who is going to decide? Does Game and Fish know where the high activity areas are? Or?
They do. They have data on that, and so we're going to coordinate with them and decide which parts of those neighborhoods are best to put the
It's like
trolleys in.
Torreon area to me, but Councilman Adams.
I move to accept the grant funds from the Arizona Game and Fish Department and approve the associated.
Got a motion? Got a second by Councilman Whipple. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is consideration of award of a construction contract for City Campus Landscaping Phase 2, City of Shoalo, project number 4452677. Mr. Hemsock.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The city's 2026 physical budget includes $45,000 for a project named City Campus Landscaping. This funding was allocated to improve landscaping at the city campus after the improvements were completed for the new city recreation building. And the scope of the work includes removing rocks and debris, installing new landscaping rock, paver, walkways, bushes, trees, topsoil material with sod, and a completed irrigation system to sustain the improvements. Improvements are along the west side of the new recreation building and along the south side of the building as well, going towards East McNeil. The design concept was established by city staff and bids were received as required. Following bids are Tim's Landscaping Creations, $58,501.86, and It's Magic Incorporated at $62,369.46. The additional funding for the parks will come from the Parks and Facilities General Improvements account, and it will be utilized to cover the overage of the bid. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the City Campus Landscaping Phase 2 project, City of Shoalo project number 4452677 to Tim's Landscaping Creations in that amount not to exceed that $58,501.86 and approve the associated budget transfers. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? Councilman Adams, you had a question?
Just a question. I'm just really excited that we're doing that. I noticed this the other couple months ago, and I think it's going to look great. I'm excited.
Good.
So I see where the landscaping's going. Briefly, can you describe where is it coming from? And are they landscaping behind?
Correct. There's the fitness building that has the workout equipment in and the fitness structure. It's everything kind of around the back of that building. And then up towards where the new recreation building is at, which is the shorter of the two long buildings at City Campus. There used to be two large globe willows there. They were kind of dying and they were getting aged. And so we had to take those down. And so we're kind of regrassing their area. We are putting back two globe willows just to start again and some other improvements as well. So
So are they doing anything?
No, we stopped with that rock landscaping with the first phase. Just a little unsure if we're going to do any sort of other parking improvements or further landscapes at this time. Yeah.
Any questions? Vice Mayor.
I move to approve the construction contract for the City Campus Landscaping Phase 2 project, City of Shoalo project number 4452677. Tim's Landscape Creations in an amount not to exceed $58,501.86, and approve the associated budget transfers.
Got a motion, got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. This is your show tonight, I guess. Huh?
Sorry, you're going to have to deal with me for a little bit.
Next item on the agenda is consideration of award of construction contract for Timothy McKay Park parking lot and walking path project, City of Shola project number 4552617B to Surface Contracting, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $718,355. Mr. Hemsall.
Thank you. In 2022, the City Council adopted Resolution R 2022-23, named the city-owned property at APM 2101805B as Timothy McKay Memorial Park. The park's design was completed with direction from the City Council and input from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. In March of '24, the city submitted a pre-application to the Arizona State Parks for a Land and Water Conservation Grant, or LWCF grant, to develop the Timothy McKay Memorial Park. The City Council adopted Resolution 2024-16 approving the grant application on May 21st of '24, and a notice of award for the LWCF grant for a 50% match was issued in September of '25. Total estimate cost for the total project of the improvements is $1,735,515. For ease of bidding and construction, the project has been broken into phases. The first phase, involving the remodel of the existing structure on site, is underway. Work for the second phase includes removing and replacing the deteriorating concrete parking area with new asphalt parking lot, installing new parking lot lighting, conduit for future landscaping, retaining walls, ADA compliant walkway paths, and drainage infrastructure required for the improvements. This portion of the project was designed by city engineering staff with an engineer's cost estimate of $710,000. The project was bid with the following results: Surface Contracting Incorporated, $718,335. Lejas Corporation, $755,160. Western Grade LLC at $775,236.32. Perkins Cinders Incorporated at $818,471.26, and McCauley Construction and Trucking LLC at $948,035. Staff recommends awarding the Timothy McKay Memorial Park parking and path improvements, City of Shola Project 455-26117B to Surface Contracting in the amount not to exceed that $718,335. There's some plans attached. I'm here for any questions.
Questions or comments? Motions? Councilman Jett?
Yeah.
Councilman Clark?
Help me understand what the total estimate of the project was. 1,700,000 some change, and this is coming in at 700,000. Are we doing this in phases?
Correct.
So what is what does this get us, I guess?
The first phase was for about $220,000. That was remodel the structure to make the restrooms ADA compliant and get that building unusable.
Where are we at on that? Is that done? Or
That's almost done, wrapping up. They're just about done with that. This is the large portion. This is to add about, I think, 45 or 50 parking stalls to start, an overflow parking area, and then 2 asphalt loops, an interior asphalt walkway loop and then the larger outside asphalt walking loop to kind of create the walking loops in that whole area. So this will be the drainage, the asphalt, the parking lot lights, the parking lot striping, just to get that infrastructure in place. You got 3 more phases coming. Next will be your landscape. So it'll be your grass, your trees coming in here in the summer. Get that established. Next, we'll work on doing a small play mound, a small little feature for kids to crawl on off the side of the path and get the ramadas up. We have 3 ramadas going in. And then finally, it'll be a restroom facility at a different location than down at the roadway.
And so with this phase of the project, is it coming in less or at what the total cost estimate was for this phase of it? Or
It's pretty close, yeah.
That's all I had.
There's also a path coming from off the Deuce where we have that modular home or whatever you want to call it. There's going to be a future path, because that's going to be parking someday too. So.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Councilman Judd. Got a motion. I'll go ahead and second that. All those in favor? All those opposed, motion passed unanimously. How long will this take? Just curious.
I think this contract's only scheduled for 90 days. And then I think we'll move into landscape right after that.
Thank you.
Our goal is to get that grass growing in the summertime when the rains hit, so.
When will the project start?
We just had the award tonight, so we'll get a pre-con set up in the next 2 weeks with the contractor, and we'll know from there, but usually a few weeks to a month out, they'll get going.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is consideration of award of professional service contract to install supervisory control data equestrian equipment on Faumbrook Water System Station.
And we'll shorten that for the rest of this. The Faumbrook Booster Station is a water booster station that enables the city to move water from the center of the city to portions in the southern areas of the city limits. The booster station is currently not included in our supervisory control and data acquisition, or we call it SCADA control system. The system allows staff to monitor and fully control the facility from a computer rather than through manual operation. Pace Advanced Water Engineering is a design firm that has recently completed some SCADA upgrades within our current system. Staff contacted Pace for a proposal to make the necessary modifications to the SCADA system to include the Faumbrook booster. The scope of improvements include all necessary hardware, software modifications to integrate the booster station into the city's SCADA system. Detailed work, scope of work is attached in the packet. Staff recommends awarding the professional services contract for supervisory and control and data acquisition or SCADA system improvements for the Faumbrook booster station to Pace Advanced Water Engineering in amount not to exceed that $74,983.00. The scope of work is attached in the aerial. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments?
Make a motion.
Councilman Whipple.
I move to approve the professional services contract for supervisory control and data acquisition control system improvements for the Faumbrook Booster Station to Pace Advanced Water Engineering in an amount not to exceed $74,983.
Got a motion? Need a second? Got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor? All those opposed, motion passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda is consideration of approval of final schematic design of the Shola Sports and Event Center and approve of budget for design development phase City of Shola project number FM 4625.
All right, at its regular meeting back in July 15th, 25, City Council awarded pre-construction contract to Hayden's Company LLC for the Shola Sports and Event Center. Scope of the work of this contract is the first phase of the design build contract for the facility. Over the past few months, the design team has been working to finalize the schematic design of the facility. At the March 24th, 26th City Council meeting, the schematic design of the facility and the schematic design cost estimate were reviewed with City Council. Concerns about the facility's costs were raised, and the design team was asked to develop options for reducing the cost of the project. The Hayden Architecton and Fourland Studio design team and I are here. They're going to present a review of the schematic design document again, including the schematic design cost estimate, as well as options to help reduce costs for the project. They were here with their presentation, and we'll let them get started.
All right, thank you, Council and Mayor. I hope everyone had their afternoon coffees. There's a lot to get to, and so hopefully we can make this as concise as possible. But if there's any questions that you have as we go through, please don't hesitate to ask. So I want to give a quick, brief overview of the design team's process to date before we jump into the cost estimation process. On July 15th, as Shane said, the design build team presented the initial design concept that was developed during the city's procurement process prior to the approval of the pre-construction contract. The proposed design that was shown was roughly 83,500 square feet on the original building site south of Wolford Road, and that was an estimated cost at $35 million in that initial concept that was presented. On August 5th of 2025, the design build team presented a design update to the council based on initial meetings with SFA and city staff, and that included initial discussions about critical quality components such as the gym floor, the quality of seats, scoreboards, and various other items. On September 16th of 2025, the Design Build team presented a design update to City Council in coordination with the community outreach meeting prior to the council meeting. And this meeting was based on the interim workshops and draft room data sheets that were provided by SFA. And it was noted during the council meeting that the building size was trending plus or minus 40% higher than that original concept that was presented in July, based on the required room configurations. Additionally, some of the selected design elements were presented with critical cost implications not captured in the original design, such as real wood floor and expanded kitchen equipment. On October 1st of 2025, the Design Build team presented various site locations for consideration. Site 2, which is the current project site north of Wolford Road, was approved by City Council. On November 18th of 2025, the Design Build team submitted the 100% programming package to city staff and began the programming estimation process. That package included the final room data sheets, the conceptual floor plan, and conceptual renderings based on the updated program. On December 9th of last year, the Design Build team presented that programming package to the council that included the full updated conceptual concepts and based on city input and SFA recommendation, and that final design was roughly 118,000 square feet. On January 6th of this year, the Design Build team presented the full programming cost estimate based on that package that was presented during the December 9th council meeting. The total cost estimate of the programming document was estimated at $56.44 million, and council authorized the Design Build team to proceed into schematic design based on that approved programming design and budget. It was asked to look at a handful of budget cut options. On February 3rd of this year, the Design Build team presented to City Council in coordination with a second community outreach meeting a handful of cost reduction strategies, including a reduction in the overall building footprint to roughly 114,000 square feet, with a total estimated savings of roughly $500,000. The Design Build team also presented the first iterations of the interior design concept for the facility. On February 24th of this year, the Design Build team submitted the 100% schematic design drawings to the city staff and began the SD cost estimate process. And then on March 24th, the Design Build team presented that cost estimate of the submitted schematic design package. The total estimate of the completed package was estimated at $57.97 million. The Design Build team also presented updated interior design concepts, and the Design Build team was asked to come back with cost reduction strategies. So that leads to tonight, April 21st. The Design Build team intends to present the proposed cost reduction strategies with the hopes of receiving direction on some of the critical path items that are going to be presented and authorization to move into the design development phase. So we were asked to review a handful of different items to help bring the overall cost of the project down. And what you see here is a comprehensive list of all the items that we looked at. To summarize, basically all of these items combined to roughly $2.2 million of potential savings. All these items, for plus or minus, basically do not impact the functionality of the facility. There are some quality reductions that are shown here, but they do not actually reduce square footage. They don't actually hinder the facility's ability to do what it was intended to do. We will split them up into site, community room, lobby and corridor, and miscellaneous building categories. And then the last one here at the bottom you can see is what we call design clarifications. These are items that the design team, along with the construction team, has already identified as basically items that we're going to be removing from the project, as they do not impact anything that can be seen or felt by the public. A few examples of those are just the thickness of the concrete slab in the gym that we were able to reduce based on our geotechnical report, removal of the headlight walls on the north and east wall, and a removal of the interior stucco finish that we had shown on the interior lobby. So these are items that we already feel that we can remove without having really any sort of major discussions, as they don't really impact any sort of aesthetics of the building. The items in bold, and there's 11 of them on this reduction strategy slide, are what we are calling critical path items. And these are critical path in the sense that our hope is that we will have direction on these tonight, because our intent in terms of our overall schedule is that we intend to release the pre-engineered metal building piece of the project at the end of the design development phase, which is the next phase. And all of the items in bold on the building side directly impact the design of that structure. And so for us to add or subtract those in the future is going to be very problematic and likely lead to schedule delays in the overall project. Similarly, we intend to issue an early site package so that we can start moving dirt before the building is actually finalized and permitted. And so the items on the site category that are bolded are critical to keeping on that schedule in regards to that early site package. So we're going to jump in. Again, we're going to start with the site items. So the first two are in regards to the site walls along the perimeter. You can see on the map, the items in red are the required 6-foot walls that are required per the zoning ordinance to screen the commercial development from the residential district. And then the items in blue, or the walls in blue, are various heights up to 10 feet to screen the mechanical and service yard adjacent to the building. And so cost reduction strategy number 1 is to take the walls in red that are the perimeter and go from a exposed masonry wall, which is what it's currently shown at, to a precast. To go to a precast wall, and you can see an example of what that wall could look like at the bottom right. I will say this is a local product, and there's a lot of different design options that we can look at. So it's more just to give you an idea of kind of what that wall will sort of look like, but we'll fine tune the design if this is accepted. So cost reduction strategy 1 is just to do that to the 6-foot tall perimeter wall. And cost reduction number 2 is to do it for the walls that surround the building for the service yard. And the original intent, again, the way it's priced currently, is that masonry wall for both instances was designed to match the masonry that's being used on the facility. So again, it's going from that material to this alternate wall material.
Just so I understand this, so the difference, 79,000 for the pre-done wall, or 87,000 for the site masonry, right? So the difference is,
For this two.
Yeah, so
oh,
One
okay.
is for the red. the
Oh,
other
that's
is
right.
for-
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
good on that one?
Yep.
Okay. The next 3 are a little bit intertwined. It's kind of an either or, I guess, because there's 3 of them. But so number 3 is we do have 16. Currently, we have 16 tree grates that are shown at our drive aisle entry plaza. Right now, as they are currently specified, they are what we call an at-grade grate, where basically the paving goes on top of it. So there's basically dirt underneath the paving, and it kind of minimizes the hole that the tree grows out of, but allows for a large planting area under the paving. So it's really designed to minimize the impact on the paving, but still maximize the health of the trees. So going to just a standard tree grate, which I'm sure you've seen with just like iron work of some sort, is roughly a $46,000 savings. Item 4 or 5 are, if you remember previous design concepts, and we'll show a rendering in a second, we basically treated that entry drive aisle drop off as a flush grade element. So basically the meeting rooms opened up and you walked out, and the drive aisle was actually at the grade of the building, and it was really meant to extend that space and really become an extension of the building plaza versus feeling like a true drive aisle. So basically that area in blue, as you can see, kind of had that decorative concrete paving and was meant to be flush with the finished grade of the plaza space. So cost reduction strategy number 4 is to basically get rid of that and treat it like a normal asphalt drive aisle and drop it down with a 6-inch curb. This would get rid of the decorative ballers. This would get rid of the tree grates completely, and it would be a more traditional kind of just drive aisle. Item number 4 is doing that, but still leaving a decorative paving of some sort. So there's still a change in material at that drive aisle. And number 5 is doing all that, but going to an asphalt. So basically, the change in material from decorative concrete to asphalt is roughly $100,000, and then $194,000 is for the basically getting rid of that at-grade plaza. So I'll show you just a quick rendering. So here on the left is kind of what the existing condition is. You can see this is the drive aisle, that it can be closed off and really treated as an extension of the overall plaza spaces around the building. And in the reduction here, it's really treated as a true drive aisle in option 3 or 4. So any questions on that? Because I know just because there's complexity there before I jump to the next one.
Yeah, we talked about on the drive aisle that we could bring in food trucks and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Need be. So number 4 would eliminate that option then?
So there's still going to be a pull-off area, and then it's really, you can't really see it on the plan. There's still going to be an area where the tool trucks will be able to pull off and park along the edge of the plaza space. That's going to still be remaining there no matter what. It's just not going to be integrated like at grade and kind of, basically the initial intent would be if you were having a festival of some sort, you could block off this drive aisle and you know, funnel cars around the entirety of the parking lot, and you'd be able to have a bunch of vendors on there. Like, you'd have a lot more outdoor market opportunities, whereas in the cost reduction strategy, again, it's going to be more of just a standard drive aisle with a little bump out for food trucks. Good on that one? Okay. All right, cost reduction strategy number 6. We have a exterior patio space that is off of the meeting rooms. In the SMAC design package, we showed a fire pit and boulder element. This is a rough concept of what we had envisioned for that. So removing of that gets you roughly 44,000 square feet, or sorry, dollars. It would just be replaced with standard paving in that patio space. Item number 7 is the entry plaza at the front entrance of the building. There was also a rock garden element and some cast in place benches. So removal of those was roughly $38,000 of savings. Item number 8, we had shown a concrete sidewalk connection from the main sidewalk that basically runs from Wolford along the back and connects to kind of that entry moment. So this area in blue was a secondary connection to a future sidewalk on the northern road. So obviously that road isn't built today, so it would be roughly a $31,000 savings to just not make that connection.
Something we can do later then?
Yes. I mean, we're not going to like remove that from we're not going to take that back to parking, so it would just be landscaped area in this project. And then the last site item is number 9, what we're calling simplifying the back of house. So currently we have 2 full-size loading dock bays that are designed to house the length of a semi. So basically we would be going to one bay, and it would not be a dock, it would just be a spot for a semi to park, not with the at-grade like ramped loading dock. We had identified an area for a future generator enclosure. We'd be getting rid of that. There would still be room for a generator in the future. It's just going to be within everything else. And then lastly is we did allocate extra space for storage and workroom for the future in that back of house space, given that, you know, we don't necessarily know how the facility is going to grow in the next 10, 15 years and what may be required for future events. So we wanted to leave some room for, you know, storage of a Connex box or something like that. And so this would basically be getting removing all of that and really make it as small as possible. And that's roughly a $73,000 savings. All right, so now we're going to jump into the meeting rooms. There's 2 reduction strategies in here. The first one is in the original schematic design concept. You can see here on the left, we had shown a sloped ceiling in that meeting room and a slightly elevated finish of the ceiling material that is still acoustically performing the way it needs to. Obviously, that is a little bit more expensive than a standard ACT tile, which is kind of what you have in this room here. So going from that decorative ceiling to a standard ACT tile is a roughly $96,000 savings. This would still keep the ceiling slope to follow the roof, so there still would be visual interest in that room. It was really just a change in the material. Whereas item number 11 is to remove the slope in that ceiling, which brings it down to basically 16 feet clear. What this does is it makes the divisible walls in the room all the same height versus 2 different heights. And what it also does is it removes all the glass basically above the ceiling height. So here you can see that north elevation. In the original scheme, that glass went basically from floor to front roof structure. In the new scheme, it would just go from the floor to that 16-foot level. And so that savings is $58,000. What I'm showing here in this rendering here is both number 10 and 11 accepted, so it's been flattened out and the material has been changed. They don't have to go together. You could just flatten out but keep the specialty material, or you could do both. So there's kind of a mix of 3 different things there. Any questions in the meeting room? Okay. So now we get to the lobby and corridor. This one is a little complicated because obviously in one space we have what is essentially 8 different potential items. And so obviously it's hard to show 8 different combinations, 64 different combinations essentially of what this could be. So what we've done is we've basically split the renderings into good, better, best, right? So best would be what we had shown previously in our full schematic design package. Better would be a reduction of 2 of these items which we feel are relatively acceptable to cut without sacrificing too much of the quality of that space. And then good is cutting the rest of the items that we'll go through. And while this does still function as the lobby and corridor, it definitely takes, all of the pizzazz, so to speak, out of that space. And so the better option, again, is $145,000 savings, and the good option is $766,000. And it'll be broken out by item as we go through. So starting with the better option, so here, just to kind of orient everyone, this is the front door vestibule, this is the main lobby space, and this is the main corridor space that feeds all the restrooms, the secondary exit to the gym, and then obviously the access to the meeting rooms. So cost reduction strategy number 12 is we had shown in the schematic design package all of the walls on the north end of the bathrooms to have a metal panel above 12 feet. So removing that and going to just a standard painted drywall would be a roughly $92,000 savings. And number 13, cost reduction strategy number 13, is we have these 4 what we're calling portal moments. One is the entry vestibule, one is the fireplace, and the other 2 are the concession moments. In the initial schematic design package, we showed a decorative metal panel above each of those, which we'll show you this in a second. And it's basically getting rid of that and going to just a standard painted drywall. Again, that's a $53,000 savings. So here on the left, you can see the original schematic design renderings that were presented last time. So here you can see on this image specifically, that decorative metal panel over the entry portal and the concession portal is removed and replaced with painted drywall in this rendering. Here you can see, so again, this is now looking from basically the front door at the gym, kind of entrance to the gym. We showed the metal panel in between each of the structural bays. And in this concept, keynote 12 here is the removal of that and just going to a painted drywall finish. As we move down the corridor, again, this wall here on the right is that same gym wall. So a removal of all the metal panel above 12 feet. Or sorry, I guess it's above 8 feet, my apologies. But just going to a standard painted drywall. And lastly, that same corridor coming from the other way. So gym walls on the left, metal panel removed, painted drywall instead. So now we'll get into the good version. So item number 14, which is not visible on the plan, is we are showing metal panel ceilings in that space. These both hide kind of the inherent structure of the building and the insulation, all the mechanical. It's going to hide all that stuff. It does also have an acoustical benefit in the lobby space, but removing that would be a roughly $170,000 savings. We have some wall tile in that corridor, which is number 15. So removing that is $7,000. Number 16 is removal of the fireplace moment that we had in the lobby. That was roughly a $61,000 line item. And then item 17 is the bars in red we identified as masonry. So this would be both exposed on the inside and the outside. So going to just a standard metal panel on the outside, drywall on the inside, that was a roughly $30,000 savings. Continuing along, number 18 is along in the corridor, again, all the red on this image, going from what we had shown as masonry that matches the outside of the building in the meeting room volume, basically matching that is what the original intent was. So removing the masonry on the inside only and going to drywall, it's $153,000 savings. Number 19 is we are showing vestibules, kind of double door vestibules into the meeting room, provide sound isolation, a little bit of a buffer into between the corridor and the meeting room. So removal of those is roughly $29,000. And then finally, In the two portal moments that we have into the gym from the lobby here and here, we're showing a decorative wood wall and ceiling treatment. So removing that and just going to a painted drywall is roughly $171,000 of savings.
So if you took out vestibules, what would you put in its place? It'd just be open?
It would just be open, yeah. Yep,
And that's the meeting room over here, right?
correct, yep. Okay, so now we're gonna go through those same four views, but in the good version. And again, the good version is the two items that we talked about before, the metal wall panels being removed, and then the metal panel over the portals, as well as the other 6 items I just touched on. So here, in this version, the only new thing that is shown is the wood portal that's over the gym entry is removed. Again, the metal panel is also removed like previously. In this one here, you can see that metal suspended ceiling has been removed, and you just see the exposed insulation. Again, the masonry in the lobby is removed, that's item 17. The metal panel over the entry portal and the concession is removed, that's 13. And then the interior masonry on the meeting room walls, number 18, is removed. Down the corridor, again, you have the metal panel removed on the gym side. You also have the wood paneling removed at the entry, number 20. The wall tile, number 15, removed. All the masonry on the meeting room side, number 18, removed. And the ceiling treatments, number 14, removed. And last image of the corridor, again, masonry removed on the right-hand side of the meeting rooms. Suspended ceiling, number 14, removed. Metal panel, number 12, removed. And tile removed at number 15. And so, because I know those were a little bit small, we're going to run through those same views again. Again, just the views going from best, better, good. Again, the keynotes aren't on here, just to kind of show the different variations. So again, this is the view from the entry vestibule, looking at the gym in the current budget, schematic design budget. Here is the better version with the metal wall panels removed. And then the good version with the wood paneling and masonry removed as well. So now we're looking from the gym entry at the entry vestibule. This is the schematic design budgeted best version. Better with the removal of the metal panel over the portals. And the good version, all the ceiling treatments removed, interior masonry, metal panel removed. And then in the corridor, again, gym to the right, meeting rooms to the left. Best version is what's shown here. Better, metal panel removed on the gym side. And good, masonry removed, metal panel ceiling removed. And last one for this section is best with the meeting rooms on the right, gym on the left. Better, metal panel removed on the gym. And good, all the masonry removed on the meeting room side, and the ceiling soffit removed as well. Any questions on the lobby corridor before we jump into the last section?
So when we remove the paneling on the roof, the insulation's going to be exposed. It's hard to tell on that. What's that going to look like?
So this is no. So it's a liner panel. It's basically an acrylic or vinyl, like white piece of plastic. What you're seeing in this rendering, let's see which one shows it the best. Probably this one is probably the closest representation of what it's going to look like. The thing that you're not seeing in here is there's all sorts of secondary structural members that tie the structure. What you're seeing in black is the structural members of the building. So there's a bunch of secondary structural members that have cross bracing that are tying to the main roof structure. There's obviously a bunch of ductwork that's going to be running through here that's basically moving from the gym over to the meeting rooms. Again, we can be selective with it and make it, as nice as possible, but all that stuff's going to be visible. And that insulation is, again, it comes in 2 colors. It's white or black. So we are limited with our options on that.
Councilman Adams.
I guess I'm having a little bit of issue with this. I just don't like the way the others look. I don't like the drywall. it's kind of,
You can say cheap.
I guess I kind of like the way we originally had it.
Well, we can talk about that, let him finish, and we'll come back to that.
Okay, good. All right, almost through. Okay, so item 21 and item 22 are again either or options. So we do have, regardless of the masonry on the inside, whether that stays or goes, we do have masonry on the exterior of the meeting room space, which is we are intending to keep on the exterior at least. We did show a high quality masonry finish. That's both it's a little bit higher quality color and a higher quality like honed finish. So cost reduction strategy number 21 is to keep the same honed finish, which again is essentially a ground masonry. So keep that same finish, but go to a cheaper color. And you can see here again, images are not great for these types of materials, but you can see it's a relatively close color match. So just by doing that, we were able to save roughly $49,000. And then the next step, like on top of that, would be to change the color, but also go to just a more standard finish, which is not the honed, not the ground face, and that's a $98,000 savings. Item 23, so this is the south elevation, so this is on Wolford Road. All of the striped metal panels that we were showing here, you can see highlighted in blue. There are also a couple that wrap on the north and south, but most of them here are on the, east and west, but most of them here are here on the south. We were showing basically a 3-color scheme with a decorative metal panel profile. We feel that because this side is you're not really interacting with it, you're only seeing it from the road, we can use a standard metal panel profile that's cheaper, but still maintain the 3-color scheme, 3-way color scheme, without really impacting the aesthetic of the building. Because again, you're not really interacting with it up close on that side. That's a roughly $35,000 savings. And then item 24 is we do show a clear story in the gym. So that's on the north side of the building that allows the natural light to be brought in. So removing it completely is roughly $165,000 savings. So you can see kind of the before and after. The one thing I will point out is because of the way we're approaching our mechanical, we will have to cut some of the bays of the clear story regardless. So that will reduce a little bit of that number, but again, then we still have to frame it. But I just wanted to point that out, that some of the structural bays may not have the full clear story as it's shown here on the left. So this cost savings is basically to get rid of it completely. And then before we jump to the final slide, I do want to bring back the potential adds that we have discussed, because again, there were a handful of items that have been thrown out over the course of this project that are not included in the SD budget, and we just want to again make sure that those are in the back of everyone's mind as we move forward. Again, what we have here is the drop-down volleyball nets. Again, our current design is based on ground-mounted portable volleyball nets. That's a roughly $251,000 add. Upgraded PA system, $55,000. The acoustic drop-down curtain in the gym, $260,000. And then 2 different tiers of acoustical improvements in the gym, one for tournament grade, what we're calling, and one for performance grade. Again, either 300 or 1.1 million. So again, technically all these could add to a $1.6 million add if they are all accepted. Again, we're just trying to keep those in front of everyone so that we understand that some of these decisions will have to be made. The item on here that we will have to get direction on ideally tonight is the drop-down volleyball nets, as that really does impact the structure moving forward. So to recap, again, this is the last slide of the presentation. I'm obviously going to go back as you ask questions, but our total SD estimate was $57.97 million. We've shown potentially up to $2.2 million of savings without impacting the functionality of the building. Again, we have also identified the $1.6 million of potential adds. And the items here, there's 11 critical path reduction items and 1 critical path additional item that we're hoping to get feedback and direction on. Again, we've already accepted the $332,000 of items that we're calling design clarification, And so, again, our hope is that we can go through these, at least go through these and get direction on these. Obviously, if there's feedback on the other ones, that's great too. But these are those critical path items. And then obviously, hopefully, be able to move into the design development phase after that. And we created a little tablet thing so we can keep track of the numbers as we
Wow. So are you going to start over?
Yeah, that was pretty much our intent. So I think we'll just go back and start going through these. We'll have some discussion about pros and cons, about keeping or.
Definitely.
I think that was kind of the goal, was just to get the feedback from you guys.
So let me just pull up this chart so we can keep track as we. All right, so starting over. So the first two was regarding the wall finish at the site walls. Item 1 was just at the 6-foot perimeter fence adjacent to residential. Item 2 was around the building's back of house area.
I don't mind the alternate wall material if you can change it so it doesn't look like stamped concrete. You said there was other.
Yes, I mean, it is stamped concrete, just.
I know. Yeah, but I've seen stamped concrete where it looks.
Yeah.
Some of them are colored, it can be painted afterwards, or some other effects.
Yeah, so again, I'm trying to just give as much information as possible. Though I think for us, number 1 is kind of a no-brainer because it's away from everything. I think the real discussion is item number 2, because we do have masonry on the building, and this is going to be right next to it, and just kind of making it feel like it's not a separate tacked-on element versus integrated with the building architecture.
So it's going to look.
So, and again, neither of these are critical path items. They're items that we can leave as future discussions. I think from our perspective, item number 1 makes sense regardless. And if we want to leave number 2 open, that's fine. I just want to throw that out there.
So if you were looking at that area in 2, you're going to see that exposed or whatever precast, and then in the background, you're going to see the building, right? Is that?
Yeah, correct. Yes,
So you're gonna
yes.
see block and then that.
Right.
So I don't like that at all already. So it's be blocked. Needs to match the building.
So we're down 79.
So 1, start with 1 for now.
Yeah, I think you could go block on that.
So, sorry. What?
Go ahead.
Number 2 is block.
All right.
We'll go 1 on the.
So
precast.
accept number 1,
Yeah.
but not accept 2. Right?
Well, where I'm confused is number 2 is around the building, which is the original. Oh, I see. Never mind. So if we use the masonry, it goes around number 2 as well, right?
Both were planned to be the original wall material, the masonry.
Right.
And option 1 is to switch to the precast on just the site wall. And then option 2 is to also switch to the precast right next to the building.
I don't want the precast. I don't like the precast.
I think everyone's
Next
saying
to the
no
mill.
precast on 2.
So I think that's what I was trying to say. I just confused myself with 1 and 2.
Well, Mayor, you're okay, like if somebody pulls up and is parking in between 1 and 2, 1 may look like a precast and 2 would be masonry brick.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think they both need to match.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
Okay. That makes sense? I have a headache now.
So by not matching them, it's going to cost us, that $79,000 savings is going to be gone by having it all be the masonry matching.
Correct.
But it will save us $79,000 by making number 1 the precast, number 2 matching, area number 2 matching the building.
Correct.
Yes.
So, the one's along the side of the property line, kind of out of the way you're turning and looking at the building. Is kind of more of the, how they broke them into 2 phases, 2 to look at. So we'll just go through these and you guys say, yes, accept the cost savings or do not accept the cost savings
Okay.
moving forward. So with 1, yes, accept.
Yes.
Okay.
One. I don't think so. Let's just-
He's trying to work through it to give you, so he's going to keep track of it on the computer there, and at the end, we'll be able to say how much cost savings.
Who is, for now, let's not entertain that yet, but just have that as an idea.
All right. So again, this one is one of the two kind of intertwined ones. This is regard to the entry plaza. So number 3 is just changing out the tree grate spec. And then number 4 and 5 are getting rid of the at-grade plaza element. So I guess starting there is keeping the at-grade plaza element or not, and then we can decide 4 or 5 after that.
Go back to
Can you show us the pictures of
Yeah.
what it looks like? Yeah.
So essentially, the alternate would be actually just create an asphalt drive aisle, drop-off aisle with curbing. It'll be your through aisle. I believe their original concept was more of a raised. It's all colored
It
different.
looks like a waste of a lot of space, to be honest. I mean, I like the drive-up thing, and I like the idea of blocking it off for outside events. So I kind of like this alternative drive aisle concept, for sure.
Yeah, I like that.
So 4 would be to keep some sorts of
So-
decorative material.
Yeah, so 4 would still be a change in material in that area so that it still felt a little bit more integrated with the plaza space, and 5
is
a true just asphalt. Yeah.
Just going with the asphalt and the
I'm
curbs.
good with 5.
Kind of for too.
We have a picture of what it would look like.
So this is actually number 5 here with the asphalt. In number 4, whatever material we end up doing over here, you can see my cursor, right?
Yes.
Yes. So basically, number 4, whatever paving this ends up being would be carried into the drive aisle, whereas in number 5, which is shown here, is just a standard asphalt drive aisle.
I like.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay.
You're showing number 5.
Okay. So accept 5. Thumbs up.
Yep,
Sure.
All right.
5.
Yep.
Hey, this is a big decision when you get headaches up here.
We got it. That's why we're going, taking our time.
Gotta get a lot of people to agree.
I totally agree with removing all that.
Yeah, I think these were just some aesthetic components from the landscape architect or things
We
like
can
that.
play
So,
with that in
Yeah.
5 or 6 years.
sounds good.
Yeah, I totally
Okay.
agree with that.
And something moving forward too is maybe we could stub some conduits. So if we wanted to add some sort of plumbing for future fire feature or electrical or a water feature like a fountain, you can always plan for that in the future.
Okay.
Thumbs up 6. Thumbs up 7.
Yeah, we can definitely. I mean, yeah, I'm not speaking for everybody.
Number 8 is the reduction of that sidewalk
We
connection.
can add later.
Okay. And number 5 is a simplification of the back of house. And this is a critical path item.
This is the loading dock, right?
Yep.
So we would have no loading docks? Is that what you said earlier?
So there would be one parking space for a semi, not a,
No
yeah,
longer a grade.
correct, yes.
I've never put on an event with a needed a loading dock.
At the concert? I don't know.
So
Somebody's coming in and putting a stage and everything in. And probably-
And,
Gentry just volunteered.
and one,
You just volunteered to forklift it.
Don't most semis have a Tommy
Well,
lift? that
I
lifts
can
it?
drive a lot of forklifts for 75 grand.
That's true.
and while we were talking, we're hoping to get SFA on the phone, the consultant as well. Are you present?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. Would you mind just touching a little bit on the removing that loading dock, potential of that? As a possibility.
Yeah, the events that will affect will be the ones that are stage and music. If which we are not forecasting a ton of, but if music acts that are going to have, because all the rigging will be from bottom up, it will be a deterrent if they're going to have to hand unload or not have a loading dock in order to be able to unload those. So we do not think those events are hugely effective to the pro forma. Not forecasting a lot of those, but they would be harder to get and attract without a loading dock.
Was there an option for one loading dock?
So again, it's tough because there's like so many different pieces to this. We basically approached it of, we're getting rid of one of the loading docks,
Oh, that's right.
flattening it out, removal of the generator enclosure, and removal of kind of future workspace in that area. So again, it's going to be very tight. You're not going to have room. I know at one point we talked about potentially doing like an outdoor cooler if the kitchen needed more space, that all the room for that type of stuff would be gone. And if all of this is accepted, again, we could split the difference, so to speak, and just keep everything, but get rid of one of the loading docks. You know, we could kind of massage that again. I can't say what that cost savings would be, but
I look at that, I mean, A, B, C, and D, and I think I like having a loading dock there at grade, because I think I agree, go around a fork, figure that out. The generator enclosure, that'd be something we can do later, isn't it? Even if, I mean, you're not taking away the room, so that
Correct.
place will still be there. Removal of extra space for store. I mean, to me, the loading dock at grade makes more sense to me.
So maybe the direction would be to keep a loading dock, but instead of having the two that go down, you just shrink that to one.
Yeah, I think that's what Councilman Clark was saying. Yeah.
so great. Keep it at grade or no?
What's the difference?
At least
I mean,
one, I think.
at least one that at grade, or
Yeah.
one would be a ramp down and one would be at grade, or get rid of the one at grade and just put one ramp. Does that make sense? Because there's two. Or am I confused
Is there
again?
only an option for a ramp or no ramp? Is that what you're saying?
So I guess there could be 4 different possibilities. There could be 1 or 2 docks, and whether they're just a parking space or a ramp. And you can combine.
I think we need one ramp, one
Just
dock.
one dock.
You can drive a forklift into it or do a direct unload and it's already down to the
It's
rental.
down.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, now you look more confused than me.
Oh, I got it.
You can't be more confused. It's not fair.
That one's gonna be hard to capture, but you can work on that one a little.
Yeah, again, you're not going to get the full 74 because obviously this is,
All right.
but just for reference.
Right.
I think if we depress the dock. Okay. So yeah, it'll be roughly $50,000 change. Okay. All right. Reducing the meeting room ceiling spec. So I'm going to start on number 11, because number 11 is a critical path item because it does impact, the windows and all the stuff on the exterior. And then we'll talk about the actual finish of the ceiling. So number 11, again, currently the ceiling slopes with the roof structure to give kind of visual interest in that space, and really kind of gives a grandness and kind of what you have in this room right here, right? There's just kind of some visual interest versus going flat and removing that piece.
I don't like the flat. Personally, I like the original. I like the big tall windows. I like the grand feel of it. I like the way the roof looks. I mean, for 58,000, I don't see, that's my opinion.
I agree. I like the window.
I like the higher roof.
Okay, so thumbs down on 11. Okay. So then back to 10 is a change from that specialty ceiling tile spec to a more traditional ACT tile.
I say save the 100,000 and go with the ceiling tiles.
I agree with Councilman Whipple.
To accept it.
To the alternative.
And
Just 2 hours for the ceiling tile.
so a standard tile is white. I mean, they can painted, but they don't look great painted. It looks not great. So I would say we need to commit to white if we're going that direction. The one thing I would say is I feel like this one could be an easy add alternate that we would just list as our base bid could be the ACT tile like this, and then the add alts that can be decided at a later date for the specialty finish, depending on where all the other numbers come in. They'd be be pretty easy for us to kind of track that moving forward and then make that call like when we come back for the DD approval.
Keep the slope, keep the windows, have discussion of the tiles later.
Yep.
We take the credit now and figure it as an option.
Yep. That work?
Chris, when you're talking about the alternate, it's kind of like this, right?
Yep. Yep. Okay. All right, now the fun one. All right. So we'll start with the two better items. They're all in quotes. Just want to put that out. So the corridor wall going from metal panel to drywall. And just flipping through the renderings real quick.
That's where I'm. And just the whole. When we first started doing this, my mind was that this was going to be a sports recreation facility. And when you guys brought the rendering, I think back last month or February is when you guys first did the rendering. I think previous ones when we had received them, they kind of looked like there was a sports arena type of feel. Like you brought renderings of like the different food vendors and stuff like that. So when we brought this one, it just feels like to me that this is like a conference center with a basketball courts attached to it, not a sports center. Like recently I've been up in Utah and most of the communities in the Wasatch Front have a community center and there is activities in the main corridor, in the entry, all of that stuff that brings the community there when there's not events being occurred. Like, so one of the things I did not want to have happen was this building kind of sit vacant until weekends or just, kids playing basketball. It's like, it seems like this just looks like and feels like when I go to a conference, just a big open gathering space attached to a hotel. And it doesn't give me the feel that I'm in a sports facility. It gives me the feel that I'm in a conference center and you guys put some courts on the back of it. And so I don't personally like that feel. I would rather have this be a usable space that our citizens can use throughout the week with either exercise equipment, activities, something along those lines that draws in the community through the week, not it sits and looks pretty for when we have activities on the weekend. I don't know if I missed, there's been very key meetings that I've been gone for work. And so if that was discussed, update me now, but I know that I just don't like the way this whole design of the front of it is. It seems like we want to do something that pulls people in so that if my kids at practice, I have something to do in this space instead of just it being an open air space. Cause it seems like you guys had like tables and stuff like that. Like it was going to be like a workspace for a conference, not recreation activity space for the community to be there throughout the week. And then even the multi-purpose spaces looked like they were designed for, for conferences, not if our recreation team was going to do Zumba or yoga or Pilates or any of that kind of stuff. And so that's the feel I've gotten when I've seen this, is that the whole idea of it looks like it's just a hotel conference room with some basketball courts. I think the whole idea behind the walking track as well is we would have people who would, that go in, if there was exercise equipment in this space, then you go in and walk the track or do, there's like, it's kind of bring the community together there. I don't see many times when I've gone to a conference, if there's not a conference, anybody's using the conference space. It's always just workers there vacuuming and cleaning up, and it's kind of like not used unless it's specifically a conference.
Well, I think that's why we went with the walking track on the second floor, is to provide that opportunity up there. But the concept was to have the event center as well.
Yeah, and I think that the event center it seems like the event center's taking over the whole building, if that makes, in the way I feel like it. And so I don't know what other people feel, but I do agree. We wanted the walking track, but in my mind, back when this was envisioned a long time ago, this would be a community center as well as a sports recreation economic opportunity and Then, the event center would be designed to house, Saturday night type of things like the Youth Foundation banquet and the Elks Foundation and that, or not the Rocky Mountain Elks Foundation.
I
Anyways,
guess I'm missing that because I still think it's an event center. It's a sports and event center. I don't look at it I don't see it as a motel. I don't at all. Some of the renderings with the sheetrock and stuff kind of threw me away, but I don't picture this as any kind of an attachment to a motel at all.
not a motel, a hotel. Like when we go to the Biltmore or when we go to the, any of these
That would
conferences.
be, to me, I'd look at something like that as a complete redesign.
I'm saying when you walk into this facility and you are walking into the atrium or whatever we're calling it, it gives me the feel like I'm walking into a conference center. Which is my thoughts.
I think with the interior better and best and in the use of public access, drawing the community, bringing sports teams, and I would take out all the gingerbread and clean it up real simple, real clean to make it as that and put the nice aesthetics inside that conference center at the separation of spaces.
So are you talking about the best of the renderings?
I'm going down to good,
Down to good.
down to good.
Mayor, I would agree with the good. I feel like if we put drywall up, our crew can patch and paint drywall better than they can, dented metal or something like that.
I would think you could go up some type of material 4 or 6 feet along your corridors to protect those hit points. And you're saying those metals come up at 12 feet where you actually start? So
Yes.
bottom half is what? Sheetrock, tile?
So it's tile. So in the best version, which is what we're looking at here, metal panel goes from the roof down to 8 feet. And then in this version, the tile is from 0. So if we accept the removal of the metal wall panel on the wall, it would again go to painted drywall. But in this version, you would still have tile from 0 to 8 feet.
And in the good, it goes sheetrock all the way down.
Correct.
Sheetrock all the way down.
Yeah, I can give in to better, but I can't give in to good, not with that much sheetrock. Our guys will be in there every time we have an event in there.
And
Correct.
to be clear, again, we organize them into good, better, best just for ease of communicating. But again, if you want 12 but not 13, that's doable too, right? So when we get to the good version and there's 8 of them, you don't need to accept all 8, right? We want to go each item by item to make sure that each item is understood.
So we're looking at 13 then, right?
Sorry, on 12. So 12 is a thumbs up. The removal of the metal wall panel from 8 feet to the roof.
13?
No. 13 is the 4 portal moments.
Oh, yeah, better.
So
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 are
go
you
up
saying
or down?
good, Or are you saying better? I think these two are saying.
I'm saying
good.
drywall.
I'd say good too. I'm fine with what Derek and Gentry are saying.
And I think the mayor does have a point with the tile going up, but I would say drywall and not the metal sheeting. Or
Yeah, I'm good. That's what I mean. Go to tile to 8 foot and then drywall up.
okay. So we're gonna accept number 12.
All saying kind of,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
which is better.
Yeah. So just for the rest of it, we probably need to take the better, good, best out of the conversation because now we're talking about individual components of each of those schemes.
I think everybody's saying tile 8 foot and then sheetrock up above
Okay.
that.
So thumbs up on 12. Okay.
Except 12.
Yep. All right. 13 is removal of the decorative metal panel that sits above the 2 concession stands, the fireplace, and the entry vestibule. Okay, thumbs up. Good. All right. All right. Number 14 is a removal of the suspended metal panel ceiling.
So I'm hesitant to have
Everything exposed.
exposed. Yeah.
Like ductwork.
Well, yeah,
That one
just-
doesn't seem good.
so-
Good idea.
When you say exposed ductwork in between the two spaces, you're talking about the big pipes, right? Run the air
Yes. Yeah.
all the way up to the top of the ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're going to have conduit, electrical conduit, sprinkler pipes. Again, the insulation that is used in a pre-engineered metal building is not aesthetically pleasing. Like, it just isn't. I mean, it's high up, so again, it's probably not the end of the world. And again, I do want to reiterate that per our acoustical analysis, that ceiling treatment is really important for that space. And so if we, depending on what we do elsewhere in the building, right, we kind of have to just keep that in mind too. So
what would you do if we didn't put a roof there? Would you just paint it black, everything black?
no, it would be the exposed insulation
See that?
scrim material.
Like,
Plastic.
Yeah, it's
It just seems like after 10 years it's going to start falling too.
I don't want to see all that.
Yeah, that's where I feel like it's like, if you've been in these recreation places, most of them are just, they paint all of it black and they don't put all of this decorative stuff. But if you go to a conference center, they put those decorative roofs. It's like we're trying to merge two buildings in one, so.
I think
Well,
that's
it's
why
still-
you compromise with going with the drywall in the corridors, I think you call it, or entryways. But I think on the ceiling, I think we need to keep that aesthetically pleasing. I don't like this finish.
What was the cost on was that the
170. So because this is a critical path item, I would ask for, make sure everyone's on board on this one.
I agree with
You go back to that picture. I mean, when you show that picture, I don't see exposed ductwork. I don't see electrical.
Correct.
It's not there yet.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
So that option is not shown in the picture.
They don't
It's-
have it in the rendering.
It's showing what the insulation is going to look like, but it's not showing all of the detailed stuff that goes in the ceiling.
all your-
14, where the picture 14, that is not, that there would be no material there.
No, this material would be there, but on top of all that would also be all the ductwork conduits, all of the building infrastructure that has to get in there.
thing that you see when you.
Yes.
Those items are not in any of the renderings. just so you
Correct.
know. None of your ductwork, your electrical conduit, none of your sprinklers, none of that is in here yet.
I want to keep the best. Because it's still an event center. It's not, I mean, it's still, you're going to have events in there. Don't forget.
Does that carry
kitchen.
through into the gymnasium?
No.
We're just talking the corridor.
Yep. Just the lot.
Come on.
Which
So-
Entry?
Hmm?
Which one are you on? What are you saying?
So in your corridor, you'd have nice ceiling on the top, but in your event center, it's going to show all your ductwork, I'm assuming?
Correct. Yeah. The duct will be exposed.
In the gym.
The insulation.
Center is going to be nice and clean as
Yep.
well. So, yeah.
Yeah. And when I
Yeah.
think it was in February when we were here, when we did our first interior presentation, we talked about kind of which spaces is where we would put the money into. And right, that lobby and corridor, again, was one of those areas we identified as critical because, again, it's where you enter the building. And again, the gym there's a lot of just natural kind of functionality of what a gym is that's going to define how that space feels. Whereas, again, that entry and lobby space is kind of that, again, it's the focal point of the building
Are
as
you
well.
saying no on 14? I see 3 or 4 down here. I don't know.
yeah.
Keep it looking good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
No on 14.
So number 15 is a removal of that tile that we talked about from 0 to 8 feet in the corridor.
Not very.
Okay. Number 16 is removal of the fireplace element in the lobby.
I think, I don't know if we need it personally. Let me ask you this.
Nice, but
Can we kind of plan for it? You talked about plumbing from the outside, planning for it. Can this be plumbed or is this structural?
Second is that.
We're taking the whole.
Yeah.
You do an hour.
I don't think we need one in the lobby then, personally.
It's going to get burned. We're going to get sued.
Okay.
We have insurance.
Yeah, or we're going to stick something up after somebody gets burned
You
and
sound
say,
like an
don't touch it.
attorney.
I think it's worth taking out.
Okay.
So thumbs up on that one. Okay. Number 17 is removal of the interior masonry. So this is just talking about these 5 walls on the lobby space.
You have it on the outside, correct?
Well, so this would be getting rid of it on the outside as well here.
I think that has to stay.
Do you have a picture on that one?
Yes.
It was gonna be,
So again, we split the masonry into the lobby masonry, which is this item, and then the corridor masonry, because again, it's kind of 2 different areas. So this image here, you can see these 2 bands. Again, it's hard to tell because it's kind of washed out, but would have that masonry that was exposed inside and out, whereas here it would just be drywall on the inside. And on the outside, it would be a metal panel of some sort.
instead, it should just be block inside and out.
Correct.
Sense. For
For 29,000.
$1,000 on a $50 million building, I don't see how that's, I think it'll look better. That's again in the lobby.
Yep.
Is that Wilford Road on that side?
No.
No,
No.
that's the parking lot.
The entrance.
Keep 17 is what you're saying?
I'm saying keep 17.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 18 is removal of the masonry down the corridor. So again, we're still keeping masonry on the exterior walls, which is here of that meeting room. But our design intent was to basically keep that and wrap it around the inside so that kind of meeting room and kitchen volume kind of have the same language as it on the inside and outside. So this one probably shows it the best. We can still kind of play with the planes of the walls there, like you see in colors, but losing the texture and definitely some of the durability at least.
Can you go like up 8 foot like everywhere else and then go?
I mean, we could look at something like that if that's desired. There's still, we would probably want to look at something that wasn't a block.
You're still trying to protect the wall from people running into it, banging it up, scuffing it up.
Foot down with something and then something from there up, like you did in the other spot.
Yeah.
Can you show us the better?
Yes. So this is the better with the painted drywall on the gym side, which has been accepted, keeping the tile, and keeping the ceiling. And then this one still has the masonry on
I
that.
think you could do something on the other side to match that side. Not exactly, but it just seems like 8 foot is our problem area, right? It's where everything gets damaged. It seems like you can go from 8 foot with something and then from there up, go with what's above number 12. I mean, yeah, what you have on number 12.
How would it look if we just matched it? It's the same hallway.
Correct. That's,
Yeah, again, I don't want to kind of give an answer. I don't know the answer to that, but
maybe, that's not critical though.
it is a critical. If we're going to do full height masonry, we need to know.
I think I agree with Councilman Whipple. I think it needs to kind of match both sides. I don't think we need that big block wall. And it's all the way down, right? It's 4 or 5.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we need to go up 8 foot with something really nice and then like we did on that other side.
Okay. So we'll accept 18. Obviously, there's going to be an add back for whatever we end up putting on the wall, but obviously it's not going to be 153,000.
But it's not structural, right? That side.
Correct.
It's all structural. But
So the reason that it's a critical item is that the building structure has to support, a 20-some foot tall masonry wall, right? It's got to brace it. And so that's why it's a critical path item.
so we might not be able to change. That might have to stay blocked.
No, it's not required for.
Metal beams or something.
If that tile was 7.
The reason the tile is so small is there's not that much of portals. The length of that wall has got a lot of opening. On the other side.
Yeah.
And we've also got it down by the kitchen. So I think.
Okay.
Which is not 30,000.
So yeah, we'll for now we'll leave that savings at 120, just as a placeholder for what we come back with as a solution at the base. Number 19 is removal of the meeting room vestibules.
That doesn't make any sense because there's an event going on and that's wide open. That makes no sense.
Taking out one set of doors, there's two sets
Yeah.
of doors.
There's always going to be a door, but this would be two sets of doors. So you have the walk in and walk in another one, kind of like a sound buffer.
Or like when you walk.
That's why I asked that question, if that was removing the doors.
No, it's moving one set of them. Basically, the double door vestibule there is truly there from an acoustical, like to separate the space. Again, it's not necessarily critical for. It's really only going to be a huge issue if you have a large event happening in the hallway that's different from the event happening in the meeting room and where you want that separation. So
There's a lot in and out.
yeah, and if there's a lot of in and out, and because obviously the bathrooms for everyone is out at that corridor. So
It just makes sense to keep it if you have an event over on both sides.
Just doesn't seem like we'd have that many
But we're hoping-
basketball
we're
and a
hoping to.
conference.
Not a conference. We already had that discussion meeting. I don't know. That's not something we have to make up tonight, right? I mean,
Can you add those later? Can you add the second doors later if we need them?
It's 100,000.
Way more.
I think we should just keep it because, we want to have events in there. Or what if we have a concert in the?
Oh, it's only 30,000. Let's just keep it.
yeah.
All we're doing is taking out.
I thought we were on 18. Sorry.
Oh, we're on 19.
back.
That's why I said, why not just do it?
Do it.
Just keep it.
Yeah, so you could add the doors in the future. Obviously, it's gonna be more than.
They already said
Oh.
keep it.
Okay, sorry.
Moved on.
Sorry.
20.
All right. Number 20 is removal of the wood wall and ceiling paneling in the lobby from basically the two portals in the gym. So that's this area here and this area here. So here is the corridor. Again, obviously this one, actually I can show you this. Sorry. So here is that wood element with the painted drywall to frame the entrance in the gym versus that where it's just a drywalled opening. And then same thing at the front entry. Here you can just see the painted drywall would just wrap down with no decorative wood element there.
Could you remove the wood and put that tile in there? Match it? And I don't want to speak for everyone, that's just my opinion, but.
Wood is kind of offset in the look. I like the halfway up in the entry wall, but this is kind of walking into where aesthetics with the wood looks.
Yeah, the intent of these was really to highlight the two entrances of the gym.
That was a little different than the hallway. I like it better. Go back to the figures again, the 171. So
So better would get us what? Less.
So better is you're still keeping the wood, so there's no cost reduction. So
I think we got to keep it. That's kind of an entry to the whole.
I'm fine getting rid of it.
What kind of wood is it? I mean, are we gonna have people going by scratching it with keys and destroying it? Are we better to have tile there? Again, that's just my opinion. but-
Your removals just go with drywall at that point, right?
yeah, I mean, again, we would have to add money back, but I think we would if we wanted to look at a tile, we wouldn't want to do the same green tile. We want it to make those two moments special, like that was the intent.
That's ugly.
I would say we probably could hold this one to the next phase. It's not a critical path item.
I mean, you can even go with that tile wood. That's probably a lot cheaper than that. Looks like wood planks. I agree. I think it could be something else
Marty?
to kind of,
The wood.
wood tiles or something, not just wood. So holding it's probably a good idea.
Okay. So we're going to leave it as pending for now. Move forward.
We're doing good. We're not pending a lot of stuff. See Fritz just go, you guys are.
Okay, so the next two are regarding the masonry finish. Again, it's either or. So number 21 is to keep the same ground face tone finish on the exterior block that is going to be remaining, and just change to a cheaper color, which was $49,000. And 22 is take it one step further and go to just a standard block finish, also in a cheaper color.
Well,
Yep.
There's one thing about that. I like that move.
I think 22 he's saying is just a regular gray concrete.
Mhm.
And where is that one?
I don't think there's a rendering for that. I think there's just the two options to kind of look at how they compare.
Yeah.
Shane, where is this located?
So yeah, I can show you the elevation while I'm finding this. It is a good point, is that when you go to a standard block, you get a lot of variation in colors, right? There's not as much control. Whereas if you do that hone finish, because obviously they're grinding it, it's a lot more consistency. And so our block is being shown, let's see, where was that? Oh, again, this is not the rendering, but basically all of the solid walls on the meeting room block, unintended, I guess, is where that exterior block would be. And then obviously that little bit of masonry on the, in the lobby. So it's really only that meeting room kind of mass that has a mixture of the block and glass. So I think number 21 is for sure we should accept that one, because again, we can basically get the same look. I think again, the challenge with 22 is just the consistency that we're going to get with a standard finish, so to speak. So.
And these are an either
I
or.
think 21 needs 21.
Yeah. 21.
So I guess my question is what, who are we, like, does this, like, from a functionality standpoint, we're going to spend $100,000, like, who's our crowd that we're bringing up here that's going to care?
Yeah.
I'm taking my kid to a basketball tournament. I don't care what the finish looks like. And I mean, you guys may, if you think you're designing a conference center, but from a recreation standpoint, I think functionality is what people care about, not the finish. So if I would say we go 22, because I think saving $100,000 makes more sense, because at once the citizens see it once or twice, the awe of looking at it and going into it's not going to matter.
And just to be clear, the 22, the 98,000, that includes the 49,000. So it's basically an extra $50,000. So
Keep 21 or keep 22? I still say 21.
Go 22.
I'm with Brant, 22.
I'm at 22.
Tony, what did you decide?
yeah, so we can accept 21 for sure and leave 22 as a future item, because it's gonna be blocked no matter what. We're gonna design it the same way. Yep. So we can hold that. We can hold 22.
Fritz paint it black.
No, we need to know before we order the block.
Oh, yeah.
All right, number 23 is the multicolor metal panels on the south side, going from a more expensive metal profile to just a standard metal panel, but still keeping the color scheme that we had before.
I think the standard, personally.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
I hate getting the windows out of there.
No,
Yeah, you keep the windows, the natural light's why people
Keep the windows.
It's worth
the
it.
windows.
All right. So reject 24.
Just a note on the windows is when you do events like cheerleading and others, the wood floor causes a glare, and light control is a factor from an event standpoint. So even though natural light is nice, light control can be very beneficial.
Yeah, but we could cover those, right? We could.
Yeah, there's window coverings in our budget. We still haven't detailed exactly what those are, but it is shown.
Yeah, I want to look outside. Snow.
Okay. Yes, they accepted that. Yep. Okay, so those are all the reductions.
Can we go back for a second?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a way to do every other panel on the top?
Yeah, and like I said, we probably have to do that anyways because of how we're getting outside air to the mechanical units and how we're feeding the system. So I'm going to guess likely there will be a reduction in this. That's to some extent. Again, we haven't gotten into enough detail to know exactly what it would be, but yes, something like that is going to happen. Again, we still have to frame that, so there's still a cost offset for that, but likely the total clear story dollar will not be 165 at the end of it because we'll have to reduce some of it. Okay. All right. So then to the ads, again, we're just trying to keep this as keep everyone informed of where we're at. Again, I don't think any of these other than the volleyball nets have to be decided tonight. We can have that discussion at a later time when we get closer to finalizing the design. But again, the drop-down volleyball nets versus the in-ground is a critical path item.
So I did a little bit of conversation with people that do volleyball, and I think the labor cost for staff, and the other part, that the labor for a drop-down makes sense to me. I know it's $250,000, but we're going to have big events in there, half the staff to take care of that. And if we don't do drop down, now we got to store them and pull them in and out. So I personally, because I want to see events in here, and we need to make it easier for our staff and easier for the people I want to see the drop down volleyball nets.
I agree with Mayor.
I agree. I've made some calls too from guys that do club volleyball a lot of time.
So, so you can do the drop down volleyball and the basketball as well. Okay.
Yes, and the gym curtains, basically everything that needs to go in the ceiling. It's to be busy up there, but it all works and functions.
And what I liked about this sheet right here more than anything is I know the drop down is very important, but the other stuff we can add later. We can do all that stuff later. I know there was some structural for the curtain, right?
So we're putting the structure in for the curtain regardless. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to buy it.
So a lot of this stuff we can do, we can take, when they start saving us more money building this, we can add some of this other stuff.
Yeah, I would say the only one that is kind of we will want to make the decision at some point is the PA system, because there's no point in buying the cheaper version and then doing an upgraded one, because you'd have to do it. You'd have to start over on the whole thing. So
we'll come to you for a $55,000 savings later.
We can do it as a bid alternate.
yeah. So, all right. So what's our?
Don't tell us tonight. No.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, I have one more question before we continue. You mentioned the reduction of $332,000, and part of that was reducing the thickness. I'll wait till he's done.
All right.
No, you're good. You mentioned reducing the thickness of the gym floor. My concern is when you fill the bleachers with 4,000 people, when you have cars in there, are we asking for it if we make that thinner concrete? Is it
Can't
worth?
have cars in there.
There won't be cars.
Okay, so if we fill the bleachers with 4,000 people, that's
So the reason we were able to reduce it is basically the wood floor that everything is sitting on is going to be the weakest link in the system. So designing the concrete to hold more than the wood floor can doesn't make sense, right? Because it's not doing anything at that point. So that's really what it was able to allow us to drive it down. And a little bit of the soil conditions allow us to do it in another part of the building as well. So it's not going to impact what you can and cannot do in the gym structurally. So
That was their reduction, not, they're the ones that.
right. I just was concerned if we end up with cracking concrete and issues later on, if we need to just.
Sound like somebody that works at the school.
Yeah, we deal with broken floors all the time.
So in terms of the accepted items, that is $1,377,000.81. That does not include the $251,000 ad for the volleyball. So I guess I can do that math real quick.
Yeah, but we'll get more later.
What is the?
251.
Power of positive thinking, young man.
151,000.
I mean, that's a good question.
Be on the
Yes, that,
Yeah, I've seen this before. This movie.
I don't know, I just got this new computer.
Just add that number and that number.
Okay. So that puts our current budget at $56,847. Sorry, $56,847,457. Sorry, yeah.
What we approved.
So that is roughly $350,000 over what it was at programming.
Councilman Clark, you had a question.
yeah, so I guess I know at the last meeting, Councilman Hatch gave a directive of 50 million. And we've done a little bit tonight. Are we in that same mindset of reducing, or was this the grandiose cut right now and now we're moving forward? So
What we propose tonight is basically things that do not impact the functionality of the facility. If there are further cuts that need to be made, then we will have to have further discussions about taking elements out of the building, right? Whether it's meeting room space, kitchen room space, like all those different things. We're going to be cutting into the functionality of the facility beyond what we talked about tonight.
So I guess my question for the council is that, I mean, we gave a pretty clear directive last time of come back with 50 million and we came back with scratch the surface. So are we still asking for that, or what are we doing now? Because this is a good start in my mind, but not end all be all. So I don't know how everybody else feels. So
I like the idea of a 5 in front of it. I don't want to get to a 6. So I don't think I heard a 50 million.
I heard Gentry say it and we all kind of nodded. So
But then again, you got to remember Gentry wasn't here at the beginning. When we started this project, I think he might have talked to staff in the last couple of days to kind of catch him up on where we're getting to this. We knew we were in the 50 million probably 2 months after we started this process.
We approved at one council
Have an
meeting.
approval at
either-
56 or 54.
Yeah, we had an approval of.
Correct. So,
50 million.
and that was a direction that,
Which meeting it was, but we.
yeah, that was back in January. The 56 was approved, and we moved forward into schematic design, and we brought it back, and there was concerns on the cost. And we did hear numbers 50, and before 40 would be nice too.
I was preaching
But-
for a 4 in front of it.
But
I realized we can't build it for that.
But also at the study session 2 weeks ago too, we said we're bringing this back to get this back to the 56 number. If there's additional want and need to go lower, that means we're cutting square footage and scope. Or the additional items that we talked about, your walking track, your kitchen, the volleyball, the extra room for volleyball, the square footage of the meeting rooms, like those are the things that go next. So that's fine if we need to go that route, if you're directing us to.
I don't want to go that route.
That was what we talked about a couple
We
weeks ago
talked
too.
about that 6 months ago. You know what I mean?
Correct.
I personally, I don't want to sit here and want to be cheap either. We talked about building a good quality product that's going to last probably obviously longer than any of us in this building, and for what we're getting out of it. I'm hoping as we move forward, I want to accept what you've done tonight. As we move forward, hopefully there's some other savings building this thing, right? We've talked about that. We don't know. Obviously, right now in the world we're in today, everything's going up, but we can only pray that things come down and keep it with a 5 in front of it. Yes, I preached 4, but when I said that, I really wanted it. Well, we couldn't even come close to building something like this. So now if we keep a 5 in front of it, and hopefully as we move forward, and the problem is if we keep putting this off and want to cut some other places, it's going to keep going up. We got to give them direction so they can start giving us a final product and start getting stuff ordered, breaking ground, locking prices in. So I personally, would you say 56?
$56,847,457.
Um,
6.85.
If we lock this price in, what potential is there that it goes up? I mean, we talked about the price of diesel. Is that going to impact the project for the next 2 years? And is this price going to go up because of that, or are we locked in at this price and we're good?
So you're going to give us some direction to take this budget and move forward in the next phase. That's our goal. If we get to the next phase in 2 months, 3 months, and our prices are going up, then we're going to come back with some more cost-saving options, or we're going to bring you to the cost of where we're at. So if we need to get back to this number, we can get there with some sort of savings. We're going, if that's our direction. I can't control the marketplace. I don't know where it's going 6 months from now. The where things are at now is just, it's disheartening to see it, but I've seen things fluctuate up and down, and we'll see where we're at. Is that fair enough?
Well said.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to put that 56 million, whatever you just said, in a motion to move forward.
56,847,457.
Round it to a number.
Yeah, you going to put some cents in there? We don't even make sense.
2 cents.
2 cents.
56 million, 56.85 million.
And that, yes, I want to put that in a motion. We accept that tonight.
There is a motion there, Mary. You just put that number in there.
You really want me to go find that?
And just so the next steps would be, if this motion does carry, would be to take that number, proceed with design, go further, take these 30% design plans up to 60s, go more detailed into all those aspects of this building. Some costs will go up, some costs will go down. We're gonna have to see how this market plays out. And we'll bring you back a fresh cost estimate when we get to the next level, and we can go from there and make decisions at that point.
Anybody want to, any other questions or motions? Anybody want to make a motion? Oh, good. I'll use my good eye. I move to approve the schematic design for the Show Low Sports and Event Center project, including the following cost-saving concepts to arrive at the projected budget of 56,000,000.
56.85.
56.85, and to approve the start of the design develop stage for City of Show Low project number FM 4625. Got a motion, I need a second. Got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? 6-1. Motion passed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, at the next one, when you present to us, can you bring aspirin, please? All righty. Next item on the agenda is discussion of consideration of direction regarding annual performance evaluations for appointed positions. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the City Council is responsible for conducting annual performance evaluations for its appointed officials, which includes the city manager, city attorney, and city magistrate. Historically, the evaluation process has been conducted informally during an executive session. Each appointed official would provide a verbal summary of their accomplishments over the past year and identify departmental needs or priorities. Following these presentations, the council would engage in discussion, providing feedback regarding performance, outlining expectations, and offering direction for the coming year. This process has not typically included standardized evaluation criteria, written performance metrics, or formal documentation submitted in advance of the evaluation meeting. In preparation for the upcoming evaluation cycle, a council member requested additional information, documentation from the city manager and city attorney to support a more detailed review. This level of request has not been part of prior evaluation processes. Questions have arisen among council members regarding what information should be provided by appointed officials in advance of evaluations, whether a more formal or standardized evaluation process should be implemented, how to ensure consistency and fairness across evaluations, and the appropriate level of council involvement and individual input. As a result, several council members have expressed interest in discussing and providing direction on how to proceed with evaluations moving forward. Staff researched some other municipalities and entities, their processes for such evaluations, and we obtained 3 different examples which we attached to the packet. So the council may want to consider the following options and elements when determining a preferred evaluation process. Do we want to maintain the current process? I won't go through all the issues there, but we can implement a structured evaluation, maybe do a more hybrid approach, or the one at the end was a one that had 30-something questions with clear evaluation criteria. So staff is just looking direction from the city council about preferred method and how to conduct the annual performance evaluations for appointed officials. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
So I just want to start out with, I think we do need a process. We're getting big enough that we need something more, more formal and more that we can take the following year. I'm just going to give you a quick example. I've been on NACOG for, I don't know, many years, 10, 12 years. And we started out with a process with NACOG that was 30 questions. It was a disaster. I can tell you from experience, we've got that down to 5. The director for NACOG wasn't a fan of it at the beginning. Today, you can talk to him and he absolutely loves it. It holds him to a standard. Then when you come back with the basic evaluation, you come back the following year and you have it in your hand of what we talked about last year to what we're talking about this year. So he evaluates himself and gives himself a 3 or a 4. It's 1 to 5, I think, or 0 to 5. I think how NACOG does it. It's in there. Anyway, and you rate yourself and then you put some comments of what he thinks and his own evaluation he can do to be a better director, like a city manager, city attorney, or judge. And then we evaluate them and see if they've done it better the following year. I think we talked about a little bit like that, Councilman Clark, a while back, so we have something to go off of instead of like we've been doing. And I think you're right. We're getting big enough that we need something to follow direction each year when we bring them back. There was an example in there too from which I kind of liked because it kind of held us accountable too. I think it was Sedona or somebody. Safford has kind of one for us. You know, how are we doing with the city manager? How are our city attorney, the judge? I like that idea too. We don't do that with NACOG, with the executive board, but I think as a city council, it kind of holds us to a standard as well. I kind of like that direction personally, only because I've done those for years. And like I said, the NACOG one is, they got it. We can change the verbiage, definitely. It was pretty basic, and the idea of bringing it back, like Councilman Clark, we talked about bringing it back the following year so we know, okay, you gave yourself a 3. Last year you said you needed to improve on this, you needed schooling. Okay, we're here this year. How did that work out? So, and I think the basic, the easy, the easier the better for us. I personally, so I like the idea of, and I like the idea of a standard for us. How are we doing as a council member with our staff that we oversee? So, yeah, Councilman Judd.
Just real quick. So, yeah, I like both of those. I like what you're saying there. I like your NACOG one as well as the one from Safford. Everywhere I've worked, we've always done like some type of survey for employees just to, if nothing else, as an employee that took the survey, even if it didn't really go anywhere, you did feel like you had a voice to say something, and maybe it went on deaf ears, but you felt like, okay, someone heard me. And so I feel like maybe we should do some type of survey, this for the city manager, but also for each of our managers and for us.
Heads.
And I wouldn't mind a survey from even the public for city council to see how we're doing and see.
Well, they'll let you know every 4 years.
It's all good for me. I have no problem with it. And if nothing else, if there's some things on there that are kind of we can't work on, it's just them complaining. At least they have a voice to say what they feel, and we can maybe take something from it and see how we can improve. So personally, I think surveys are great, and I think we should do it with our city employees. And again, I would be hypocritical if I didn't say I would be willing to have that for myself. And I think that all of our managers should have that. And I think it would be a good idea to get a pulse on where we are in the city.
I agree. I think starting with because who does this? If I mean, NACOG has their upper management staff evaluate, say the city manager. Shane would have to evaluate. That's what I mean. The evaluations from there. Then it can go, I mean, then they can add on later that he evaluates people under him. So it can go farther and farther till it gets to the department heads on that. And I like the idea of doing surveys too, but they let us know if they don't like us. So
Yeah, I guess you just said
pretty easy.
Facebook, but formal survey. I think
Councilman Clark.
helpful.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just want to give the rest of the council background information. In a discussion I had with Mayor Leach several months ago, probably in the middle of the fall, we were in a conversation and he asked me what the county does to evaluate their county manager. And that's where this kind of, the request came from. Mayor Leach had a great idea with evaluating the appointed individuals. I wholeheartedly supported it. I know that you gave direction to staff to kind of move with that. And then when the evaluation came up this year, I know that it was pushed back because I wasn't present. I appreciate Vice Mayor Cavas requesting that. So thank you for doing that. And then the request I made was I liked what you said about doing an evaluation that's more robust and more informed. And so that's where I think everybody got my email that I made a request for the city manager and the city attorney, because I really like the idea of what you said about the NACOG director and how the county does it in multiple entities that are our size. They do these evaluations. And so that's what was the trigger for my email, and my request was just, I wanted to have more information so that I could be informed and represent the citizens when I'm doing those evaluations. And so that's how that all came about. And so thank you for the idea. And then I appreciate this being on the council. And I agree with what Councilman Judd said. I feel like it's a good idea to do surveys. Obviously, we would want to get the feedback from our staff, whether it's our appointed officials or us as a council members. And then again, I think we are surveyed every 4 years when we put our names on the ballot.
So are we talking like a 360 evaluation?
Yeah, I think that's that's the idea. And just before I turn it back over to you, Mayor, I love the city manager evaluation for the city of Safford. I think they do a great job. In my experience, when we have I've noticed corporate America as well as SHRM, their SHRM, I guess it's called, that a lot of them are going away from the 5 questions because a lot of people, if you give them more choices, they usually don't make one. So if you have 1 through 5, they usually end up in the middle and you don't get information. So I like the way that the city of Safford has done theirs, whether it's either you're doing the job, you're doing a great job, or you're falling, needs improvement. And I think that's what I garnered from our current city staffs, from the city managers that he did with our directors, that there's just the 3 choices. And so I would say that I would want that, because then it gives you a clear picture of what you're doing. You don't get a whole bunch of 2s and 4s because people don't want to, I want to know if I'm going to do an evaluation, I want it to be meaningful and I want to extrapolate information for it. I don't want to just do it just to go through the process.
So when we do an evaluation with, let's just say, stay on the city manager and 2 or 4 or 5, he's got to explain why he's giving himself a 2. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, I'm saying if you're going through and, you're doing an evaluation on city manager, city attorney, or the city magistrate, it's either you're doing the job, which would be on track. You would either be outperforming, meaning you're doing an exceptional job and you have to be able to articulate that. There would be some very big wins, like this year, the one of the wins I would say for the city would be the giving machine, right? That came to our community. It was a great opportunity for people to really focus on the true meaning of Christmas, and we really came together as a community. So that would be a win. And so you would put that on there. Same thing with our recreation department. They've done a phenomenal job with the scarecrow walk, the scarecrow walk at Halloween. That has brought our community together. Businesses do that. So that would be outperforming. They're doing a phenomenal job. And then most of the stuff is going to be on track. And then occasionally there's going to be a needs improvement. And so that's where with the 3, you really are able to pinpoint exactly what the person's doing. But if you're doing something along the lines of, if you're saying somebody's doing fair, average, or good, there's a lot of ambiguity in that. That's what
So let me-
I would prefer the Safford one.
Let me ask the council this, do we want to go that detailed to the Safford? Do we all want to make it our own? Obviously, make it our own. We don't want to go, how many questions was in the Safford one?
Let
I
me
don't
count real quick,
remember.
Mayor. I think there's just an overall,
I see.
workplace, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions.
You guys want to build something like Safford and see where it goes?
I would prefer that, but.
I'm good with the Safford one. I don't know how, I mean, and just keeping it with the city manager, I'm not really interested in, and it's his job to do his staff and things, but I like the feedback.
We're definitely going to have to sue the city attorney and the magistrate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Vice Mayor?
So I like Safford's in that it provides you with descriptive measures that describes why you're measuring them or rating them certain ratings. So it looks like a very long evaluation, but it's more information than it is actually a.
Right. So does everybody kind of like that direction? We can build something off that?
To be clear, that I don't think I see in the Safford one a 360 type of
Yeah,
evaluation.
I
It's
do
not.
think that we need to build in a survey or 360 process for the department heads to rate those individuals that are reporting to us.
So department heads report to the city.
That report to the city manager or subordinate that report to the magistrate or the city attorney.
Ready for me to make a motion that anybody on the council with 40 years of HR experience?
Have Connie get with staff and build something.
I'm just kidding.
So does that make any
It's 4
sense,
decades.
Morgan? Kind of build something off of, I don't think it's word for word or something that fits us. I like the idea of the vice mayor kind of helping out, build something. Well, we have
You like that?
our
HR, we'll
we
get
have
the
our HR. So
Yeah, I would say if the direction would be, City of Stafford looks the best of what the examples we've been given, and we can incorporate a Leadership 360 survey model into that, and then we could give feedback or whatnot, but our basis would be Safford with a survey model of
yeah, you can
360.
put that in a motion.
Well, I don't think there's a motion available. It's just to give staff direction,
Oh.
so that's what I would.
Yeah, but in the form of a motion, just make a motion.
Huh?
Yeah, make a motion and we'll do it.
Okay, I would move that, that we, and give staff direction that the council would like to develop an annual performance evaluation for appointed positions. I would direct staff that we utilize the example of the City of Safford's city manager performance evaluation process, develop that for the City of Show Low, and incorporate in that a Leadership 360 survey model into that as well, and that we would utilize that for our annual evaluations for the 3 appointed officials that we have stewardship over.
I'll second.
Is that clear for you, Rachel? And that'll give, I think Ashley's probably the one who's going to take this. And
Got a motion? Got a second? All those in favor? All those opposed? So that was 6-1.
You know what, I'm gonna can I change mine? I just don't like to keep it to Morgan and the 3, how much we need to know about what's going on, because if that is working good below, it means you have a management that's working above. So I don't know how deep, I just don't know how deep I want to go down into that.
Well, we can do some changing as we build it.
I think we were just intended to do the leadership.
That's what that's
6-2.
Okay.
I'm tired.
5-2.
It's way past, it's an hour and a half past my bedtime. Don't laugh, Curtis. I knew you were gonna. Okay, there we go. Next item on the agenda is summary current events. We don't have any till the next meeting. Just
The mayor and I attended the celebration for the completion of the Alpine Trail master plan completion, which is, it's the largest off-road trail loop in the United States, and it's been in the works for 3 or 4 years through Arizona State Parks through a grant. And so it's a really wonderful thing for all of the communities from Tonto Basin up to Hennigan's Meadow, Alpine, and people can stop in the different communities and spend the night, spend their money.
And contact Connie if you want a brochure or something so she can get the trail master plan to you. She's the secretary, so she'll take care of you. Anybody else? Councilman Clark.
Yeah, I was expecting Derek to do this, so he's going to get in trouble by his sister. The Prince of Egypt is starting this week at the Sholo Auditorium. Oh, did he? Yeah,
You got it, though. You got it.
I have sons and several nieces and nephews who are in that. They've been working very hard. Yesterday, they had over a 12-hour day on a snow rebate day. Mrs. Whipple has put a ton of time and effort and heart and soul into that, so we'd encourage our community to please go out and support these kids and support the performing arts program at the Shola Unified School. They do a phenomenal job. We really are fortunate to have a caliber of a teacher as well as the performances that she's able to put on within our community. It's really second to none. So
That starts, is it this weekend?
this Thursday and
Thursday.
Friday, and then I think next week it's on as well. They have matinees as well as evening shows for those of you who get to bed at 8:30.
8:30, 8:45. Come on. City manager.
I think just a couple of quick items. It's going to be a busy weekend. So we also have this weekend the Sholo Biz Expo on Friday and Saturday. That's at the city campus gym from 10 to 4. Showcases local businesses in our region along with their products and services. Great way to spend some time shopping and learning what where these businesses are located. Also have our annual day of service on Saturday, April 25th at 9 a.m. at the Sholo School District. And after you go out and do your assignments, you return there and they'll have lunch for you. Remember to wear some closed-toe shoes, gloves, and hats. If you need more information, you can call 532-4014. And then the following weekend, along with our barbecue throwdown, we have our city and corporation anniversary party scheduled for May 1st at the Frontier Fields, 5 to 8 p.m. Lots of events, live music, free hot dogs and hamburgers, chips and dessert, giveaway prizes and games. And if the council wants to help, just let me know as we serve the community that night. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody need seconds? If not, I don't see, scheduling meetings. Sorry.
We have one issue on the scheduling of meetings. We have a meeting scheduled for May 19th to bring back the changes to the recommended budget. I've been told by Councilman Whipple that he's not going to be available. He's going to be helping the seniors on their senior trip, and then the mayor has to attend a graduation. So we're looking at maybe thinking about changing the meeting in May, maybe to just one meeting on May 12th. The P&Z is not meeting that night, so I want you guys to look at your calendars and see if that would maybe work. Have just one meeting in May on the 12th. Like every council member there when we do these recommended changes, so we're used to the thumbs up. Okay.
Thumbs up. No.
No? You're out May 12th?
Be south.
Okay.
How about you, Councilman Adams? 12. Oh, it's the budget. We need everybody here. So we'll
We'll look at some other things. Let's also look at May 26th. That's right after Memorial Day. Does anybody have a problem with that date?
how long are you gone for? A month?
I'll actually be coming back that day. I'll be back late. I won't fly until 8.
About May
6th?
So if we do stick with the meeting on May 5th, Gentry?
26 works, yeah.
26 works.
26 works for Gentry? Okay.
Everybody,
One meeting in May the 26th.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
we might have to have one early now.
Huh?
We were trying to do one,
So the
get everything into one, but
first meeting in May was May 5th. Is everybody good on
Good
May
on that one, too.
Okay. Okay.
So,
All right, we'll see if we can make it work. The issue is it's hard for our staff to get the tentative budget ready in 3 days. We'll see if maybe we'll move a meeting in June around. We'll see. All right, thanks, Mayor. That's all I have.
Justin back there going.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too.
Oh, he's, all right. Seeing no more business before this council, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you guys for input.